Hey, this is Ed Sorrentino. I hope you guys are all keeping safe out there. Just real quick, I do want to go over two stocks today. First being the Trade Desk Incorporation. Yesterday, I actually released the potential trade alert, and based upon how I am going to be managing my money using TTD, ticker TTD. So yesterday I did say that if it did break the 245 mark, it's going to reach the 266, 267 waters, and it did. And if you take a closer look, this is at the 1-day chart. If you take a closer look at the 5-minute chart, it did actually do exactly what I was going to say that I said it was going to do, and it gapped up and then ran to 266. I actually bought around 250 and I sold around 261, I believe. I usually wind up selling a point or two off from the resistance and supports. That's just my rule. In the long term, it winds up being much more profitable for myself and just significantly reduces risk. Obviously reduces profit, but significantly reduces risk in my opinion, which long-term trading, this makes you better off in the long run, obviously. So I actually bought stock instead of options. I've actually been noticing that some of these options are quite inflated. Vega is very high, and maybe that's just because everyone's sitting home doing nothing all day and trading, or that just because there's obviously a lot of expectations and what this stock will be doing. So I just decided to buy 100 shares of stock instead. It's like the same thing as buying a contract in the money. And then I bought it, like I said, at 251, 250, 251, sold it at 260, 261. So my next potential trade alert that I think is going to be a major score is stock Zoom Video Communications Incorporation, ticker ZM. I do like trading this stock. This is highly traded by millennials, especially with their brand new fancy Robinhood accounts this quarantine. So what made me look at this stock was that obviously it went up 12% today, okay, but it did surpass its 52-week high and is now creating higher all-time highs as we speak. And if you look at the day chart, the 1-day candlestick for today, it does look beautiful. It clearly is raging bull, and it actually closed while it was creating newer highs for the day. So this tells me that tomorrow it will continue to create higher highs. There's a lot of volume with this stock, which is great. And I think that if we take even a closer look at the 1 hour, this will actually tell us where this thing might even go. So if I'm looking back at March, right, it created a 52-week high, and then it came down, right, and it retested the waters of its most previous support around 108. However, then it went to go retest the 52-week highs, was a little choppy. However, the next day there was a huge gap up, right, and while it did break the 52-week high and was choppy during that day, the next day it did create a newer high, significantly rallied, and that's what I'm pretty much hoping if that happens tomorrow. However, like anything else, any trade can go either way. It can go up, it can go down. This is just simply trying to increase your probability of success, in my opinion. That's how I'm best at trading. And definitely going to look to sell this thing tomorrow. I actually entered calls at the close. Possible outcomes that I do see for tomorrow is that it could retest on the downside. It could retest this new support, old resistance, or it could just do what I want it to do, hopefully, and go higher and create newer higher highs. Especially if the market is up tomorrow, I think this thing's going to gap up and run. I'm looking to sell it somewhere in the 170 to 175 range. If I can even get to 180, that'll be great. However, just looking for small gains. I did purchase the options, so I'm just looking for a small few point moves so I can make a decent amount on these options. Just like any other trade though, it could go either way. I was very successful today with my TTD trade, so I actually just rolled in those profits into this trade. So really, to me, my downside is losing profit and my upside is just gaining even more profit. So to me, it's a win-win situation. And let's just look for that gap up tomorrow and run. Or if the market opens lower tomorrow, it could potentially bounce off this support and then create newer highs. Or it could just open where it is, and then slowly increase. And it will continue to increase. However, I'm going to be looking for a top as well. After I make money on the upside, I'm going to be looking for a top. I think a top like this is definitely due, especially while looking at RSI on the 15-minute chart. If you take a look here, obviously RSI is quite high. Every time it does surpass the 70 point marker here on the RSI indicator, it does come down, as shown here, as shown here. However, not to say that this thing can't go up anymore. I do think it's going to go up significantly tomorrow. That's what the play is. However, if it doesn't, then I'll just exit and look to re-enter, reevaluate, look to re-enter. If I do see a potential top, I'm going to play the downside as well. That being, I'm going to be selling at 161, which is its next support. Right now, this thing's trading with no ceiling, so the sky really is the limit. Last time it traded with no ceiling, there was a huge pop the next day, and then it continued to run significantly for that day, but then it did create a top, and then you can play the downside as well. I mean, if you get in the options playing the upside here and the downside here, you're going to be very well off. That is going to be a huge day for you as a trader. So that's all for today, and just like any other trade alert that I do release on YouTube, I am not suggesting or recommending the purchase of any option or equity. I'm just simply showing you guys what I'm doing with my account, my trading philosophy, and how I am managing my money. That's all for today. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys can make some money and just stay safe out there.